Questions and questions et commentaires, l'honorable député.
The Honourable Member for Drummond. Thank you, Madam Chair. My Liberal colleague, well, I won't name the Conservative member by criticizing his commitment to Ukraine. I see him in other forums, and I have no doubt about his commitment. Regarding his party's position on the Canada-Ukraine Free Trade Agreement, that's another story, but I can guarantee one thing. This member is fully engaged and is putting all of his conviction into defending Ukrainians from his community. Madam Chair, I listened attentively to his speech. I always find it interesting to listen to this member because he knows this matter well. But I'd like to hear his comments on the way that Canada is currently managing the conflict in Ukraine and the support that Canada can provide. I find it's a little soft and lazy, as I said earlier. I think Canada could do much more. But I also think that the international community, contrary to what the Liberals think, the international community is looking at Canada and saying they promise a lot, but they don't deliver much. We've delivered 42% of the assistance we've promised. Does my colleague think that if one day Canada were to be in a situation where it needed help from its international allies, I'll give an example, just randomly, if we had to defend Arctic sovereignty, which is a possibility, does my colleague think that the actions by Canada now could influence a bit the level of support from our international allies in that eventuality? Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Selkirk Interlake Eastman.
Well, Madam Speaker, I want to thank my colleague for, first of all, his kind remarks, and also for the great question. And I just say this, that you know, we are supporting the government for all the military aid that has been provided to this point in time. I also appreciate the fact that Ukraine, on a lot of the loans that have been handed over, I know that every loan that was offered to Ukraine to help with their economy and their government and the military that was done under the Harper government has already been repaid. You know, Ukraine has been honoring those loans that have been provided from Canada and other nations. But he's right. You know, there's been a lot of announcements, and you aren't going to win a war on paper. You actually need to deliver. And so all you have to do is look at 14 months ago, the Government of Canada announced, and there's great fanfare, that we're going to send over an NASAM air defense system. That still hasn't been ordered. $406 million, who knows where it is. That NASAM is still either in the United States or not even built yet. And so there is a lot of questions around where that contract is, and Ukraine needs that air defense system today. They needed it when it was first announced, and they don't need it 14 months from now. They need it today. We also know that when President Zelensky was here, the government made a bunch of fanfare about sending over 50 new light armored vehicles. And I can tell you that the contract with either JDLS or Armatech in London hasn't been signed. We do not know if they're actually going to purchase these. And we're talking, this was again announced 6 months ago, and we even haven't put a pen to contract to allow our own Canadian industry to build these light armored vehicles. And as I mentioned in my speech, Ukraine was burning through over 8,000 rounds of howitzer artillery shells on a daily basis. And Canada hasn't even increased our production here of our 155 millimeter shells built in Montreal, one iota. We're still building today 3,000 a month. That doesn't even give Ukraine enough for half a day. And Canada and our allies need to step up to really ramp up production. We have to get on a war footing, and we got to make sure that we support our Canadian defense industry so that they can deliver the equipment, the weapons, and munitions that is needed by the Ukrainian military to defend their sovereign territory. And finally, as we've been calling, Madam Speaker, we have a lot of equipment that is being disposed of. We need.
I can't give you another speech within the questions and answers.